Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India Live, India's voice to the world. I'm Tanvi Taneja. Coming up in the next 30 minutes. India's progressive pitch continues at the World Economic Forum in Davos with major investments in key sectors and a call for joint action to tackle global challenges. On the last day of the forum, US President Donald Trump says big force is moving towards Iran. Also, UN Human Rights Council to hold emergency session on Iran. EU Commission to propose major investment package for Greenland while the US agrees to work with NATO on the Arctic island security. And Men in Blue aim to extend series lead against New Zealand in the second T20 in Raipur. Kiwi bowlers hope for a better show against India's mighty batting order. Let's begin first with updates from Davos's World Economic Forum 2026. India's progressive pitch at the forum, which began in January 19th and ends on January 23rd, drew sharp attention from energy sector to global deals. India made a remarkable achievement. The country pushed hard for more renewable energy, guided by the idea of one Earth, one family, one future. The vision underlined India's call for joint action on green growth. India also underlined solutions to tackle global challenges. Overall, Davos 2026 boosted India's image as a leader in energy shifts and investments. With climate risks growing, the focus on renewables fits the global need. India's story of scale and strength shared at the forum draws partners for a shared path ahead. As deals flow in, the country steps up its role in a world seeking balance. The sessions could spark real changes from job creation to green tech, aiding India's long goals and vision of Viksit Bharat. So India pitched a 300 to 350 billion US dollars clean energy investment opportunity to global investors at Davos. Renewable Energy Minister Prasar Joshi highlighted policy stability, falling tariffs and 267 gigawatt non-fossil capacity, positioning India as a future-ready green energy hub. DD India's Tapas Bhattacharya reports.
India has made a strong global pitch for clean energy investment at the World Economic Forum 2026 in Davos, positioning itself as one of the world's largest and most investment-ready green energy markets. Addressing the global investors, Union Minister for New and Renewable Energy, Prasar Joshi said India's energy transition represents a $300 to $350 billion opportunity by 2030, offering speed, scale, stability, and long-term returns at a time of global economic uncertainty. India has already built 267 gigawatts of non-fossil fuel capacity as of December 2025 and is firmly on track to meet its 2030 clean energy goals.
267 gigawatt we have already reached as far as renewables are concerned. Means more than 52% of the energy mix is from the renewable now. We are having the manufacturing capacity of 144 gigawatt of module manufacturing, 27 gigawatt of cell manufacturing, which is going to shortly reach 50 gigawatt.
The pitch rests on affordability, reliability, and energy security. Rapidly falling renewable tariffs, grid modernization, competitive battery storage, and green hydrogen cost have made clean energy central to India's growth strategy. The government highlighted policy certainty, strong state-level execution, and a growing domestic manufacturing base as key strength for global investors. At Davos, India projected itself as a stable, future-ready destination for global clean energy capital. Taposh Bhattacharya's report, DD India.
From Davos to New Delhi. India and the European Union are not only close to signing a landmark trade deal, but also are set to strengthen their strategic relationship with the signing of a new security and defence partnership at the EU-India summit in New Delhi next week. More in our next report.
India and the European Union are the closest they've ever been to conclude a free trade agreement in what has been dubbed as the mother of all deals by the bloc's chief, Ursula von der Leyen.
I will travel to India. There's still work to do, but we are on the cusp of a historic trade agreement. Indeed, some call it the mother of all deals. One that would create a market of 2 billion people, accounting for almost a quarter of global GDP. And crucially, that would provide a first-mover advantage for Europe with one of the world's fastest-growing and most dynamic continents.
Von der Leyen will be traveling to India, where she will be the chief guest for the Republic Day parade on the 26th of January, along with European Council President Antonio Costa. When concluded, the FTA would be India's largest trade agreement to date and its 19th such deal. India and the 27-nation EU would create a combined market of nearly 2 billion people that would account for nearly 25% of the global GDP. The agreement is expected to cover goods, services, investment, technology transfer, telecom, and regulatory cooperation. Indian textiles are likely to emerge as a major beneficiary with reduced tariffs. They currently face 10% tariffs in the bloc. Notably, the deal excludes agriculture and dairy. Apart from the FTA, EU Foreign Policy Chief Kaja Kallas said that Brussels will be signing a new security and defence partnership with New Delhi.
The EU and India are moving closer together at the time when the rules-based international order is under unprecedented pressure through wars, coercion and economic fragmentation. Two major democracies cannot afford to hesitate. We must become more ambitious partners.
India and EU already enjoy strong economic relations. In financial year 2024, India's bilateral trade in goods with the EU stood at $135 billion, making the bloc the largest trading partner for India in goods. Exports to EU was worth $76 billion, while imports from EU stood at $59 billion. India's main exports to the EU include machinery, pharmaceuticals, and petroleum products, while the EU's main exports to India consist of transport equipment and chemicals. EU investments in India are valued at over $117 billion, with around 6,000 European companies present in India. India's investments in the EU are valued at around $40 billion. The FTA also provides India and the EU with an opportunity to diversify markets, especially amid economic uncertainties caused by US tariffs. Bureau Report, DD India.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi received a telephone call from Brazil's President Lula da Silva. The two leaders reaffirmed their commitment to further strengthen the India-Brazil strategic partnership and take it to even greater heights in the year ahead. Recalling their meetings last year in Brasilia and South Africa, the two leaders noted with satisfaction the significant progress achieved across diverse areas of bilateral cooperation, including trade and investment, technology, defense, energy, health, agriculture, and people-to-people ties. The leaders also exchanged views on regional and global issues of mutual interest. They also underscored the importance of reformed multilateralism in addressing shared challenges. Prime Minister Modi conveyed that he looked forward to welcoming President Lula to India at an early date. Exercise Topche, the flagship annual firepower demonstration and training event of the Regiment of Artillery, was conducted at the School of Artillery on 21st January 2026. The mega event was organized under the leadership of Lieutenant General N.S. Sarna. The attendees included student officers from Defence Services Staff College in Wellington and Defence Services Technical Staff Course, student officers from Nepal Army Command and Staff College, key officials from the Indian Army, Civil Administration, local populace and students from various schools, colleges in Maharashtra. Exercise Topchi highlighted the seamless integration of advanced firepower and surveillance technologies, including guns, mortars, rockets, drones and aviation assets. Demonstrating the spirit of Atmanirbhar Bharat, the event featured live firing of various guns, including indigenously manufactured artillery systems, So from Katha to content power, the Ministry of Information Broadcasting has come up with chronicles of India's storytelling art to the development of orange economy in its Republic Day tableau. Bharat Gatha presents a powerful visual narrative of India's civilizational journey in storytelling. From ancient oral traditions to its emergence as a global content and media powerhouse, the tableau reflects the spirit of Atmanirbhar Bharat, seamlessly blending cultural heritage with technological innovation.
India has a long tradition of storytelling, not from now, it's a timeless tradition. So if you think of it, earlier it was Shruti, Sunne ka, listening. By listening, that was how the oral tradition passed. The storytelling was all about oral tradition. Later it became Kriti, Likhna. So the first written script, as we believe, it was when Ved Vyas told the story of Mahabharata, and Sri Ganesh, he wrote it. So that was again a Kriti, Likhne ka tradition. That later how newspaper involved, how the leaflets, people wrote on the leaflets, Tamra Patra, and how later again it evolved into radio, the audio tradition, the Drishti tradition. Then the television came, then the AI came, and finally it was Waves, which was a futuristic vision of Prime Minister Narendra Modi to say how India's tradition has evolved into a futuristic journey and how India is marching forwards in this area.
So Bharat Gatha, the tableau, is a blend of India's history and infotainment. Lead India's Vishal Barrister spoke with the representative of the tableau designing team, Suchitra.
Newspaper, radio, television, and finally box office. Yes, we are talking about Bharat Gatha, and this is the tableau of I&B Ministry, and I am with Suchitra. Her team has conceptualized and designed this tableau. So what is the concept behind this tableau?
Story is about Indian storytelling evolution, how it started when Guru Shishya used to sit beneath a tree and exchange stories, to a Mahabharata being told by Vyasji to Ganeshji in a written form, and then came the evolution of the satellite, where television, radio came into the picture, and then we can show you the box office, where now Indian storytelling is being told globally and shown globally. So we are representing the Indian storytelling stage to the global world at the Republic Parade.
You have Raj Kapoor and Nargis Dutt. So what does it depict?
So it's one of the cult movie that everybody can see, and he is one of the greatest Indian storytelling master of the era from the Bollywood had started. So we wanted him to be present on this stage today.
So there you heard, it's a complete saga of news and entertainment, what we call infotainment. With cameraman Bheem in Delhi, this is Vishal Barrister for DD India.
You're watching DD India Live, still to come on the show. Japan's Prime Minister Sane Takaichi set to dissolve parliament today for a snap election next month. Indian Army continue their domination in ice hockey in the ongoing Khelo India Winter Games. And Indian fields bloom with mustard flowers as the festival of Basant Panchami marks the arrival of spring in India. Welcome back. You're watching DD India Live. I am Tanvi Taneja. The European Commission Chief Ursula von der Leyen announced plans for a major increase in European Union investment in Greenland aimed at supporting the island's economy, infrastructure and security amid growing tensions over US interest in the Arctic territory. The European Union leaders heaved a sigh of relief over Donald Trump's U-turn on Greenland as they met for an emergency summit in Brussels. The leaders said that they want an EU-US trade deal to be back on track after the European Parliament suspended its ratification in protest over US pressure to acquire Greenland. Speaking at a press conference, European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen said EU have collectively underinvested in the Arctic and Arctic security.
We have collectively underinvested in the Arctic and Arctic security, so now it's high time to step up and to build on what we already achieved. Beyond investment, we also intend to deepen cooperation with the United States and all partners on the important topic of Arctic security. In particular, we believe we should use our defense spending surge on Arctic-ready equipment, a European icebreaker, for example, and we should strengthen our security and defense arrangement with partners in the region.
While saying that they want to work on strengthening the transatlantic cooperation, the EU leaders warned that they were ready to act if Trump was to threaten them again.
Europe is not willing to junk 80 years of good transatlantic relationship because of disagreements. And if you look at the surveys that have been done also in America, then majority of Americans see Europe as their biggest ally. So I think this is the way it is, and we are willing to invest our time and energy in this.
US President Donald Trump said that the United States would work with NATO on Greenland security. Aboard Air Force One, Trump said the plan he has for Greenland would be well received.
We're all going to work together, and actually NATO is going to be involved with us. We're going to be doing in conjunction, parts of it in conjunction with NATO, which is really the way it should be. Third, will the U.S. won't have any expense because we're not going to have expense.
Further, Greenland Prime Minister Jens Frederik Nielsen has come out and said that sovereignty and territorial integrity are a red line. Nielsen said he is not aware of the contents of a framework agreement about the Danish autonomous territory that US President Trump announced he'd agreed after a meeting with NATO chief Mark Rutte.
First of all, nobody else than Greenland and the Kingdom of Denmark have the mandate to make deals or agreements about Greenland and the Kingdom of Denmark without us. That's not going to happen. I don't know what there is in the agreement or the deal about my country that over some discussions I didn't attend. I don't know what concrete in it. What I'm saying is that we have a high-level working group that will sort things out.
Upping the ante, President Trump said that a US naval armada was heading towards the Gulf, maintaining pressure on Iran, although he has recently downplayed the prospect of imminent military action. US warships, including the aircraft carrier USS Abraham Lincoln, several destroyers and fighter aircraft started moving from the Asia-Pacific last week as tensions between Iran and the United States soared following a severe crackdown on protests across Iran in recent months. Last week, Trump pulled back from a threat to strike Iran over its deadly crackdown on anti-government protests after the White House said Tehran had halted planned executions of demonstrators. But the Republican president on Thursday confirmed continuing military preparations. Trump reiterated that his threat to use force against Tehran had stopped 837 hangings of protesters. He also confirmed he was open to talking with Iran.
Where do things stand with Iran? The U.S. has got sizable military assets You know, we have a lot of ships going that direction, just in case. We have a big flotilla going in that direction. And we'll see what happens. We have a big force going toward Iran. I'd rather not see anything happen, but we're watching them very closely. I saw 837 hangings on Thursday. They would have been dead. Every one of them would have been hung.
Japanese Prime Minister Sanae Takaichi will dissolve parliament on Friday ahead of a snap election on February 8th, counting on her cabinet's high poll numbers. The country's first woman leader announced that she planned to dissolve the lower house. Takaichi has pledged to cut a sales tax on food for a 2-year period to alleviate the burden on people struggling with inflation. Vowing to address the issue, Takaichi's cabinet approved a record $770 billion budget for the fiscal year from April 2026. The ruling coalition of Takaichi's Liberal Democratic Party, LDP, and the Japan Innovation Party, JIP, has only a slim majority in the powerful lower chamber. Takaichi is hoping widespread support for her cabinet that will help her deliver a stronger mandate, even though the LDP itself is battling low approval ratings and a string of scandals. In sports news now, India will look to extend their series lead when they take on New Zealand in the second T20 in Raipur today. Led by Suryakumar Yadav, the men in blue come in high on confidence after a dominant win in the first match, where they posted a massive 238 despite losing the toss. India's powerful batting lineup has been in red-hot form, with Abhishek Sharma once again proving to be a major threat at the top. New Zealand's bowlers struggled in Nagpur and will be hoping for a much better performance in Raipur. The only concern for India is the fitness of vice-captain Akshar Patel, who injured his finger in the first game. He's expected to be available, but India may choose to rest him as a precaution. New Zealand face a tough challenge against an Indian side that has won 10 T20 international series or tournaments in a row, including the World Cup and the Asia Cup. New Zealand captain Mitchell Santner will be under pressure to get his bowling changes right, especially against India's aggressive batters. This will be just the second time that Raipur will host a men's T20 international. In the first one, held on December 1st, 2023, India had defeated Australia by 20 runs. In the Khelo India Winter Games on the third day, Indian Army won their second straight group match in ice hockey at the NDS Stadium in Leh on Thursday. Having beaten Himachal Pradesh 5-1 in their opening match on Tuesday, Indian Army romped to a 10-1 win against Chandigarh at the NDS Stadium on Thursday. Padma Norbo scored a hat-trick, while Teswang Dorje and Jigmat Kunzang chipped in with 2 goals each. The atmosphere was electrifying as a sea of army personnel turned up to cheer their team, celebrating every goal. Speaking to DD India after the match, Army ice hockey players spoke about why Army teams are traditionally strong in ice sports. They shared their experience of playing in the artificial ice rink in Leh.
We all know we all stand for the Naam Namak Nishan of this place. The Ladakh Scouts, being the eyes and ears of this formation, they're the local players on ground. They've been living here from the past years, and hence the local people give them an upper edge. Because of this, about 20,000 feet, where you see the states coming from down, be Telangana, Maharashtra, Haryana, Chandigarh coming up.
India celebrates the festival of Basant Panchami today. The next 50 days will be filled with enthusiasm, with nature blooming to its best. The festival of Basant Panchami is dedicated to the worship of goddess Saraswati, the deity of knowledge. DD India's Adamya Mishra reports.
Basant Panchami marks the end of the winter season and the arrival of spring, symbolizing the confluence of nature and knowledge. Celebrated on the 5th day of the bright fortnight of the Hindu month of Magh, the festival brings visible transformation in nature. Greenery spreads across the landscape, colorful flowers bloom, and the atmosphere is filled with renewed energy and enthusiasm. Fields covered with yellow mustard flowers and trees adorned with vibrant blossoms become a defining feature of the day, while the weather turns pleasant, offering a perfect balance between winter and summer. Basant Panchami is not only a celebration of nature but also holds deep spiritual significance, as it is dedicated to the worship of Goddess Saraswati, the deity of knowledge, wisdom, art and music. The color yellow, symbolic of the spring season, dominates the celebrations. Wearing yellow attire, offering yellow flowers and presenting yellow-colored prasad are important traditions observed on this occasion. The day also holds special religious importance, as Basant Panchami is considered highly auspicious for beginning any new work. Adamya Mishra's report for DD India.
That's all for this edition of DD India Live. Do let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. Connect with us on our different social media handles at DD India Live. And you can also download our DD India mobile app for quick news and updates on the go. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Tanvi Taneja from all of us here in New Delhi. Thank you for watching. Namaskar.
Tamil Nadu